Hey y'all, hey, it's Holly Holiday here with Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, and Win with Black Women. As many of you know, I'm the president of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. And if you know anything about Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, then you know we are down for the Black women running for office. We have many tools available on our website that you may want to check out at sistersleadsistersvote.org. If you want to know about the state of Black women at the midterm after the primaries, we have a brief report for you. If you're interested in finding out who in the world are the Black women running for office in your state, well, we have that for you too in our general election yearbook. And maybe you're just like me and always wanted to be Steve Kornacki, the guy from CNN with the maps, and you just like playing and finding out where all the people are. Well, guess what? We got that too. You can literally nerd out, geek out, but most importantly, be informed about where Black women are running for office. And let me tell you something. Unlike most people, we got them from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom, and all of those in between, because as we know, when Black women show up to run for office, it is just an expansion of their leadership, not the beginning of their leadership. And we are privileged and honored to have them serve. Well, today I have an amazing candidate for you right here from the future 51st state, the District of Columbia. And we are talking about education today, y'all. And listen, we get so much stuff, as you know, we do a lot of stuff on the presidential, and y'all are always hitting me up talking about, well, what about education? What's she gonna do for education? Well, let me tell y'all something. Y'all really care about education? You really need to be getting into who's on these boards of education. You really need to be talking to the people that are actually making the decisions about education in your community. And so today, we have someone who is running for Ward 7, District of Columbia, State Board of Education. Her name is Toni Criner, and she is joining me now. Hey, Toni.
Hi, Holly. It's good to see you as always.
I said your name and got so excited. I started talking. Girl, what's going on?
I hope you're okay.
I'm okay and fine. Thank you for joining us. Listen, we do these candidate spotlights to educate people about what's happening with local elected offices. And we want to appreciate you for coming on. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me and for creating this space for women like myself. And so I always appreciate Win with Black women. And so I am grateful to be here and looking forward to the conversation.
Well, one thing we know about Women with Black Women and Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote is that we are 10 toes down for the ladies running for office, especially our Black women. Okay, let's get into it. So for those of you all listening, you ain't got to be here a long time, but stay here the whole time so that you can hear the answer to some of the 3 most important questions that voters want to know. Let's start with the basics. Why in the world? Question number 1. Why are you running for office?
That is
Ward 7.
That is the best question that I receive as I, go through this campaign trail. The why is because we need change. We need change in Ward 7. And I bring a host of career experience and lived experience that addresses and it provides solutions to some of the critical issues that our families are facing here in Ward 7. Some of those issues are safety, special education, low literacy rates. And so I've had the honor of serving as the district's ombudsman for public education, where I've had the opportunity to just get a pulse on what is happening around the district, specifically in Ward 7, as it pertains to our kiddos, our families, and our educators. And so I think that I am properly prepared as a DC educator of 12 years to address those issues and work hand in hand with our local officials to make sure that we're getting policies right that address our students and providing right resources and all of that good stuff, and working with our not only our local officials but the community, the educators. They have a voice. They want to be heard. They feel like their voices have been drowned out or even ignored. And so, as the ombudsman, again, I had the opportunity to speak to over thousands of families, listen to their concerns, and work with, again, our city officials and policymakers to ensure that their voices are uplifted in both the comprehensive and the special education space.
Yeah, I love this. And one thing that you mentioned, which leads perfectly into my next question, is that you ran because you thought you had solutions. And, one thing about solutions is when we think about solutions, we also unfortunately usually have to overcome something. So let's
Mm-hmm.
get into our second question, which is quite simply, our second question is quite simply, what issues do you most want to impact, and who's in the way of the impact that you seek to make? And here, think about the solutions and who's stopping us from getting to those solutions.
Yeah. So, there are many issues, as I listed earlier, when it comes to safety, special education, our low literacy rates in Ward 7. We are, some of our students are reading at around 82% low literacy rates here in the ward. And so we need to make sure that we're providing proper resources, bringing in reading partners to support our students. And not only our students, we're hearing from families, from parents that are facing these issues, who maybe didn't graduate from high school and cannot support their students with their homework. And so not only do we need to support our students with low literacy and reading levels, but our parents as well. And I have not seen those resources available to our community, or haven't heavily pushed or provided and advertised to our community. Safety is another huge issue right here in Ward 7. I noticed as the ombudsman that there was a trend of students who were being gunned down on their way to school during safe passage to and from school. There were families and community members who did not have children calling into the office, stating their concerns around safety. And, I listened to the community, and I said, well, what can I do in my community to help address this particular issue? And so what I did was I created a student to student conflict resolution pilot program right here in Ward 7 at one of our major high schools. And so that program worked. It worked through mediation, involving parents to come into the conversations to really understand what their students are facing inside of the school and on their way to and from school, the negative engagements that they may be having with their peers online and offline, and bringing those issues into the school community. And so, again, I have addressed multiple issues across the education board when it comes to safety, special education. And so I think that, again, a lot of those issues we have to work with the community to solve. But right now, safety is one of those biggest concerns. And so what's keeping us is we often deal with the no snitch policy in the Black community. And I think that that's what we're seeing a lot of times when we're trying to address the issues, but we often face young people and adults not wanting to come forward to say, hey, this is actually an issue and our community is suffering because of it. And so I've been trying my best to create a safe space as a community leader to give our families an opportunity to come to community conversations to discuss what it is that they're seeing, the resources that they need, and the fear that they have if they do come forward to share these concerns. I've been, told by multiple longtime residents, DC natives, that there are neighborhood beefs, generational beefs that exist right here in our ward. And so, to the question, is we're in our own way at times because we want to follow the no snitch policy, which doesn't always pan out, and it just continues to perpetuate this idea that we have to, take matters in our own hands, and we're now facing, our youth being killed. We're losing mothers and fathers because they're not taking, appropriate measures issues and disagreements in our community.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I love this idea of introducing young people and their parents to mediation.
Hmm.
I think it is a little bit brilliant, if I do say so myself, just because even as an attorney, we're taught to think about being adversarial, and the legal system can be set up in very adversarial ways. But what mediation does is it takes it down a level and allows us to not just focus on the adversarial or the problem, but
Yes.
it really identifies and tries to help people navigate to solution.
Hmm.
And let me tell you something, if we can teach young people that at an age where they are in school, imagine the amazing skill sets that they carry into the world,
Right.
into the workplace. In an environment that we're in, that has been pushed to so much uh, controversy and division. Having a skill set like understanding that there's another option besides fight or flight, that there's actually a way that we can figure out for folks to get to compromise. And mediation is certainly a tool that I think can help people understand that process. So I really love that. And I hope that the residents of DC Ward 7 are loving it also, because these are the kinds of solutions that we need to see in education.
Absolutely.
Okay, I have to tell you, this last question is my favorite question, because I think it's important for people to know that, yes, candidates tend to run because they care about issues. And yes, they have solutions, as you have shared. And usually they are inspired because they want to see change and they believe they can be a part of change, something you've shared as well. But also, a little known thing that I don't think gets nearly enough play is how much I find candidates just love their community. They just love their community, and they see the good and the bad, but also the amazing. And so, question number 3 for you is simply this: assume I have never been to Ward 7. Tell me something about Ward 7 that makes you proud or excited.
Yes. Ward 7 has very rich history. And it's a part of the reason I chose to move to Ward 7 from Ward 5.
Mm.
I bought my first home in Ward 7. I had my first job in Ward 7 right here at the fishing school. But Ward 7 has very rich history. One of the main reasons and historical points that I love to brag about is I live a few blocks from the Nanny Helen Burroughs Girls School. Nanny Helen Burroughs was an educator. She was had some prejudice against her because of her skin color. And what she decided to do was create her own space for women who look like myself, girls who look like myself, and that is a woman of color, to provide vocational training to those particular girls to prepare them to be global citizens. And so I grasped on to that rich history. And I love to just kind of imagine myself as a little Nanny Helen Burroughs, running through Ward 7, supporting our students and our families. And so Ward 7 has very rich history, brilliant minds, creative and artistic group of people. And so I love my people in Ward 7, and they will let you know what you can and you cannot do. Very colorful, very loving people. As soon as I moved into the neighborhood, I had my neighbors come out, and welcome me. And so I am the youngest homeowner on the block. My nickname is Little Perry Mason because I'm always fighting a good fight for those who have just kind of, put their swords down and say, go ahead and you fight for us. But Ward 7 is, again, rich with resources, love, and history. And I am proud, as I mentioned earlier, proud Ward 7 resident.
I love it. I love it. And listen, I think honestly, understanding your love and passion for community for Ward 7 is probably one of the more compelling things that you bring to the table, but certainly not the only thing. And like we see and Black women leaders, you all give it up for Toni Criner. She's been amazing. And don't think this is the end, because this is just the beginning. First and foremost, we need you to vote. The election is coming. The election is coming. The election is coming. We are mere weeks away. Voting has already started, especially if you got that absentee ballot. And so this is one of those offices where you might have to turn the page or flip it over or go all the way to the end, because you need to make sure that you are voting for every single line on that ballot, but especially if you live in Ward 7, DC State Board of Education. So where do we find Miss Toni? We find her in all the places and spaces. Let's put your website up. Toni for Ward 7. SBOE.com. That stands for State Board of Education. You can also donate there. And of course, she's in these social media streets. Hey, at Toni for, that's spelled out FOR, Ward 7. 7 is the number. On both Instagram and Twitter. So we want to make sure that you do all the things. You already know what to do. You need to drop those coins. Cha-ching. You also need to make sure that you are sharing the information with your Ward 7 neighbors and community. And hey, we don't mind a little volunteerism every now and again also. So do that. And all of that can happen when you hit her up, check her out, and make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to all of her things. Toni, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining our spotlight today.
Thank you for having me, and again for creating this space.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, we got the thumbs up. The people are like, yes, yes, yes. So all of y'all watching and all of y'all with those thumbs up, make sure you share this content, especially with your Ward 7 neighbors and community, so that we can remind them about amazing women like Toni Criner who are on the ballot this November. Well, don't think we've been doing quite a series. I think this makes 4 or 5, but the great news is we are not done yet, y'all. We still got some days, which means we still got some candidates up for you to check out. And our next spotlight candidate happens tomorrow. Let's see the fly. It happens tomorrow at 2:00. We're going to be spotlighting Stephanie L. Dukes. She's the candidate for the State Senate District in Florida. State Senate in Florida. You all know how much I love a state legislator, so we can't wait to hear what she's going to be talking about. And then we will have our next one after tomorrow at 2, the next one October 22nd at 4. We're just all over the place because we want to make sure we get all these candidates in. So check out the next spotlight. It's going to be tomorrow. We will see you then. Listen, the hearts and the thumbs up continue to come. And I know that has been for our special guest, Toni Criner. Thank you so much. We wish you the best on your campaign trail. You all don't forget to donate. Let her know that you're interested in her race. Feel free to come out and volunteer. It's not too late. And don't worry, we'll make sure you get all the information. See y'all. Bye.